All right, you guys, so something interesting. We talked about this at the 10 a.m. advisory, which Luke and I are not surprised. The winds have gone down to 155 miles per hour. The pressure has risen. That's the sign of the system slightly, we will say slightly weakening. But again, it is a major hurricane, Category 4, causing catastrophic damage for parts of the northwestern half of the Bahamas. Unfortunately, though, it is not taking that north turn. According to the National Hurricane Center, they're stating it's moving west still at 1 mile per hour. So basically just crawling and damaging the northwestern half of the Bahamas as a Category 4 hurricane now. So the outer bands of the system still very strong, devastating, and unfortunately is going to continue to bring more rain, more storm surge, more devastating conditions for the northwestern half of the Bahamas. And the length of the system, so this is what I want you to understand, how large the system is from the west to the east. It's about 240 miles, the length of it. So keep that in mind when you're thinking of it just creeping up the coast of the central portions of our state and into northern Florida, because how large it is means that we're going to continue to see those bands wrapping around that eye wall. The strongest part of the hurricane, the damaging winds, will continue to push towards the northwest. Now, it is located, again, just a little over 110 miles east of West Palm Beach, Florida, but tropical storm force winds extend out from the center 140 miles. Now, that's why we are continuing to see the possibility of tropical storm force winds for Fort Lauderdale, obviously much stronger winds for West Palm Beach. And the closest approach will be later today into this evening. And again, we're just waiting for that north direction to take place. As it does so, that's where we're going to see the most impressive impacts for parts of the central portions of the state staying north of us. So again, looks as though that the tropical storm watch is still in effect. There is a hurricane watch still in effect and a tropical storm warning in effect for West Palm Beach. For Fort Lauderdale, the advisories have not changed. We just got that in. So it looks as though a tropical storm watch is still expected with tropical storm force winds for Fort Lauderdale. Here is the new forecast cone. It looks as though it still has it moving to the west-northwest, hugging our coastline from central Florida all the way up towards northern Florida, becoming a Category 3 as it's just off the coast of Daytona Beach, and possibly making that northeast turn just off the coast of the southeastern United States. So again, the models are things we completely watch in these scenarios because we have that GFS model and the European model, and it looks as though they're keeping that system very close to the coast of Florida. For us here in South Florida, what does that mean for your local impacts? Well, South Florida, we're going to deal with the possibility of tropical storm force winds in Fort Lauderdale, hence why there is a tropical storm watch. South of that area, so Miami and towards Miami Shores, Miami Springs, for you sending me those emails in Homestead, it looks as though you'll be dealing with the possibility of some tropical storm force wind gust embedded in the thunderstorm activity that will be pushing around the center of Hurricane Dorian going into the later half of our day and into this evening. Tropical storm force winds begin at 39 miles per hour, reach up to 73 miles per hour. Some roof damage and tree damage possible. Now, the effect of this will start once again later this afternoon, especially the most strongest winds will be in Broward and obviously going up to West Palm Beach. That will continue going into Tuesday morning and Tuesday afternoon. The timing this afternoon for Miami-Dade, you could start to see some winds of 20 to 30 miles per hour, much stronger by this afternoon going into Broward. But this morning, we're already seeing some gusts sustained in the 20s, and Palm Beach already felt with this activity. We'll have a lot more on this coming up in just a bit because I need to go to the radar and show you what the winds are right now. But I want to toss it over to meteorologist Luke for more on the 11 a.m. advisory.
Okay, Julia, we just got this, so I'm going through what the National Hurricane Center is putting out, and there's no changes in the watches or warnings. All that's still the same, so that would be Broward under the tropical storm watch, tropical storm warning to the north, hurricane watch in effect in Palm Beach County as well. So it looks like we still, of course, have a very powerful hurricane. All morning long, we've been talking about how the storm isn't looking quite as well structured as it once was. I'm not surprised at the down rating. It's still 155, almost Cat 5 hurricane, but officially at Cat 4, still crawling at 1 mile per hour. And what typically happens under this scenario is you see the storm, when they go into these cycles, these changes, they expand, they become larger. We've been saying this all morning long. The winds drop down a little bit and then they pick right back up as a secondary eye wall can close back in. You'll see that. That's the old one. Watch what happens as we put it into motion. That one goes away. Now there's this bigger one. It's twice as big as the old one. It's just a massive eye wall now. And it's going over, we'll say, Freeport and back toward the east side of Grand Bahama Island and still just crawling. Now earlier today it did actually make a little jog northward. You can see that there, and now it looks like it's probably going to resume its westward track. So Sweeting Key, you've been in it for hours. It's been an eye wall over portions of some of these islands, of Grand Bahama Island I should say, for hours and hours. It's just an unbelievable mauling that Grand Bahama has taken today. Okay, so moving forward here, there you can see it stopped us, the latest radar imagery. The strongest part of it's the southern section, it looks like, so tremendous storm surge going over here near Sweeting Key. Pull the view out and you can see it's still about 120 miles off, and some of these bands that we're going to be watching through the day. This is the future radar, and you can see it kind of lash us with some of these bands, but this is still just fringe effects for South Florida. It's closer than we would like, but this is not going to be our storm in South Florida. They're going to have to be on guard to the north, though, as this is still a very dangerous storm for points north. So friends and family up along the Space Coast, this could still be Cat 4 strength as we go through Tuesday. So tonight and Tuesday, really by Tuesday morning, it takes that northward turn. And then by Wednesday up here, just north of Orlando, north of Melbourne. And this is still a very dangerous area. And it's going to be close. If it doesn't make a landfall, it's going to be close, and they're still going to get massive impacts. And then Georgia, South Carolina, North Carolina as we get to late this week, probably weakening, but a massive storm Thursday and Friday. They're really going to watch it near Cape Hatteras, and then even the Northeast getting grazed by that cone as well. So that's the latest with the 11 a.m. advisory. Category 4 still very, very dangerous and still very slow moving, and it will be a process before this gets northward. Okay, we're going to shoot it over to break. We'll be back here though in just a couple minutes.